said, no, she thinks I'm listening to her. That is not the case with me, because I listen to my wife, okay? I just want to make sure y'all know that. You know, it is an honor to serve in Washington, D.C. You can imagine someone who grew up in this district, who grew up in Fort Wentworth, has been a lifelong resident of this area, growing up to become a member of the United States Congress, representing the area that you grew up in. And it is quite an honor for me. In fact, I'll tell you, when I first got up there, I was pretty overwhelmed. We were sworn in on January 6th of this year. And I can remember sitting there and looking around and seeing all these people that I had seen on CNN and on Fox News and on the cover of Time magazine. I couldn't help but think to myself, wow, buddy, how did you get up here? A couple of days later, after I got to know some of those people, I was thinking to myself, wow, how did they get up here? But seriously, you know, a lot of people ask me from time to time, what's the most surprising thing that you found out, that you discovered since you've been a member of Congress? And you have to remember, as David told me, I'm a pharmacist by profession, and pharmacy is generally regarded as either the second or the third most trusted profession in America. Whereas members of Congress are kind of like number 2 or number 3 at the bottom of the most trusted members and professions in this nation. So I've gone from one extreme to the other extreme. But people do ask me from time to time, you know, what is the most surprising thing? And I tell them the truth. The most surprising thing is also the most encouraging thing. And that is, when I first got up there, I couldn't help but think to myself, okay, if this is the second least trusted profession, must be a bunch of deadbeats. But nothing could be further from the truth. I'm telling you, there are a lot of good people in Congress. A lot of smart people, intelligent people who really are serious about moving this country forward. And yes, that has been somewhat surprising to me, but most of all, it's been encouraging, and I'm very encouraged by that. You know, I'm going to talk about a number of things tonight, and Amy reminded me before I got up here, now be positive, and I am going to be positive, but we've got a lot of challenges in our country, and you know that. You know that we have a lot of challenges, and the chaplain was so good with your invocation, and I appreciate that, because he mentioned about prayer for our country, and I'm going to ask you, before we leave tonight, I'm going to appeal to you to please pray for me, to pray for our Congress, and to pray for our country, because we do need it. There are a lot of challenges out there. But we are doing a lot of things right. I still feel like we live in the greatest country in the world. Yeah, we've got a lot of challenges, but we still have a great country. And a lot of that is because of people like you, particularly those of you who have served our country, in our military, in our Air Guard, in the work that you've done. And I want to just tell you how much we appreciate your dedication and your service to our country. That's what makes us so great. You know, to be able to gather here tonight in a free country, protected by people throughout the years like you, who've given of yourself and sacrifices, we owe you a great deal of gratitude, and I want to thank you for that. So give yourself a round of applause. Thank you. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have ever been on an honor flight? Whenever, have you've been on the honor flight before? Whenever we go to Washington, Steve, you've been on it, I know. And as an escort, that's great. You know, the honor flights are great. They take the World War II veterans up to Washington to see the World War II memorial. I had the opportunity, and one of the greatest opportunities that I've had thus far as a member of Congress, I had an opportunity to stay up one weekend to welcome an honor flight from Savannah and Brunswick, 2 different honor flights that came up. What a great experience for me. I'm telling you, for these American heroes to come up to Washington, D.C. And you know what amazed me the most? What amazed me the most is that I would go and I would greet them, and I would say, thank you for your service. And to a person, they would all say, I was just doing my job. To a person, they would say that. I was just doing my job. What a great generation. I just can't express to you how much we appreciate everything that generation has done for my generation and for generations to come. If you ever have an opportunity to take part in that or help support that program, I hope you will, because it is a great program. You know, I want to switch to politics for just a minute and tell you about some things that are going on. The first few months, the first 10 months that I've been in Congress, I've had quite a few experiences. I had an opportunity to welcome the first Pope ever to address a joint session of Congress when Pope Francis came about a month ago and welcomed and spoke to us in Congress. What a great honor for me to be present. I'm not Catholic, but I will tell you, he is a great religious leader, and it was an honor just to be in his presence. Such a humble man. Pope Francis is just a great religious leader. I also had the opportunity to see Benjamin Netanyahu address a joint session of Congress, a great leader there as well. I also had the opportunity to be physically present in my first State of the Union address, and that was certainly a great honor for me. So I've been through a lot in the first 10 months. I'm a little bit frustrated right now, to be quite honest with you, because we got a lot of drama going on in Washington, D.C., as you know about. We're looking for a new speaker. We're going to get a new speaker, and that's going to happen in the next few weeks, and we're going to identify someone. We've got the largest majority Republican Party that we've had since FDR. We've got a deep bench. We've got a number of talented people. Now, who it will be, I still don't know. If Paul Ryan from Wisconsin decides that he wants to do it, then I certainly think he's going to be the unanimous choice. But if he doesn't, we'll get someone else. We were really on a roll. We were getting a lot of things done at the first of the year. We passed for the first time since 2009. We actually passed a budget. Now, I know that seems foreign to all of you because you have to have a budget at your home. You have to have a budget at your business. When I'm still in business, we have to have a budget. We have to balance. We had to have a budget at the state level, but in the federal government, for whatever reason, they spend more money than they take in. It's ludicrous. It's something that we've got to address. $18 trillion in debt, climbing every day. That, in my opinion, our national debt is one of the greatest threats to our national security, and we've got to address that. We can only address it by, first of all, cutting spending, secondly, having entitlement reform, and thirdly, growing our way out of it. So that's going to be very important. But we did pass a budget which was very significant. We also did something earlier this year that I suspect many of you will benefit from, and that is we fixed the Medicare reimbursement, the sustainable growth rate as it's known as, which means that if you're on Medicare, you can be assured that you're going to have providers now who are going to be accepting Medicare. That's very important. And we did that in a bipartisan fashion. I was very proud of that. Out of 435 members of Congress, 373 voted in favor of it. Now, when you can get 373 members of Congress to agree on something, you've really done something good. So I was very proud of that. We were really moving along there, getting a lot of things accomplished. The Trade Promotion Authority is something else. Then we hit this speed bump with the speaker. We're going to get over that. We've got a lot of things that we've got to accomplish before the end of the year. We've got to find a resolution to our continuing resolution to our budget. We passed one at the end of September that got us through December the 11th. Now we've got to have something else that can get us through the rest of the year. That's going to be very big. We've got the debt ceiling that's coming due. That's going to be something we've got to address. We've also got to do something about highway trust fund and about transportation funding. We're trying to get a long-term bill for that. So we got a big list of things that we've got to get done before the end of the year. But I want to speak specifically about our military, because as all of you know, we've got this thing that's called sequestration. Now, I was not in Congress when sequestration came about. It's my understanding that sequestration was really kind of a self-discipline, if you will, that Congress was trying to do it to force theirself to come up with a budget. And it really hasn't worked that well. We, at first, the cuts that we made, yeah, they were painful, but the cuts that are being made now as a result of sequestration, the cuts that are being made to our defense, they're really starting to tell. And we're really starting to hurt our country's defense. We have got to do something about sequestration. We've got to overturn that. We've got to start funding our defense like it should be funded. We are very fortunate in the 1st Congressional District. In this district, we have 4 military installations. We have Hunter Army Airfield. We have Fort Stewart. We have Kings Bay Submarine Base. We also have Moody Air Force Base. All of those are vital to our national security. We've got to make sure that funding is there so that we have the best equipment possible. The Guard plays a very important role in that. and certainly you do. We are very blessed to have the 165th. We're very blessed to have the Air Dominance Center. All of those are very important, again, to our national security, to our military might. I want to congratulate you, first of all, on getting the C-130s, the H-3s. That's a good thing, and General Westgate and I were just talking about it. I take that as being a good sign. Excuse me. I take it as being a good sign in that you're getting newer equipment, which I think helps solidify where we're at here. So that's going to keep us from getting cuts, and that is, I feel like, a good sign. So that's something that we're really working on. Now, a lot of times the Guard doesn't get the credit that it's due to them. And we understand that. I understand that. I get it. And I want to assure you that we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you have the equipment, make sure that you have everything that you need to do your job. And that's very, very important to us as members of Congress, to me in particular. Again, I want to thank you for all you do. We've got, yes, a lot of challenges in our country, but we've got a lot of things to be proud of. I remain optimistic. I think we live in the greatest country in the world, and I do sincerely believe that our best days are still ahead of us. I believe that, and I'm going to work hard to do everything that we can to make sure that happens. Again, thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for what you do. I'm going to take an opportunity if anybody has any questions. Is that okay? I'll be glad to try to answer any questions that you might have, and I want to hear from you. But before I take questions, let me go ahead and preface one thing. My dad is 78 years old, so I know all about Social Security. He reminds me about it every day. So y'all don't need